YouTube, new episode of Let's Argue, special edition this time. Number one, because it's my wonderful girlfriend Iuliia, who's here to give her input on these insanely overrated games. Because yes, second thing, we're going to talk about overrated games that y'all suggested. Let's not waste any time.
I was like wondering where the camera is.
Oh yeah, it's the phone.
Yeah.
Okay. Our first take, Xenoblade Chronicles, overrated game. Iuliia, what do you think? Do you have experience with this game?
I don't have experience with this game except the donkey video.
The donkey video?
Yeah.
That one's on Xenoblade 2 specifically.
Oh, so this doesn't count.
This one is a little more respectable. It's not quite as horny and weird looking.
Good thing about the Xenoblade Chronicles series is that they never shy away from adding boobs. This is like one part I like. This one
does not go as crazy with the boobs yet. There's one lady who has kind of like all cleavage, but that's it. Xenosnore Chronicles.
In general, RPG stuff is like dog shit for me. Like,
well, you like sort of modern Western style RPGs, right? Sort of like mature, grounded dark fantasy, where you're actually pressing buttons and stuff.
Like Final Fantasy 16 is like the perfect example for this.
Final Fantasy 16 is a great game.
Yeah.
Y'all heard it here first.
Yeah.
So, I actually finished this game back in the day. Obviously, this was a big deal. The release of the West, blah, blah, all this shit. I was pretty excited for it. I was a pretty big Nintendo Wii stan. There's also the sort of diametrical opposition between this game and Final Fantasy 13. I think that was one reason it kind of blew up, because it was, oh my god, it's so big and open and epic, which was weird for JRPGs at the time. I do think when you get down to it, it is telling a very anime-ish, JRPG-ish story that, in my opinion, really loses itself sort of in the final third. It gets pretty ridiculous. I want to say the stat scaling and the stat system is very overbearing. Just tiny differences in level make a huge difference in effect, or in effectiveness, I should say. And just generally, like, I thought the MMO style combat, it had some cool ideas with the whole fucking seeing the future shit, but like, I don't know. I do respect this game's like scale and art style and all that shit is cool, but I think in practice it never coalesced into something that I was really that into.
I agree. If it wasn't anime, and if it was like realistic and had the same exact story, I would play that. But like the fact that like it's anime, it's kind of like takes me out of the experience.
I actually wonder, because it's not that anime. It's not like cel shade or anything. So maybe I don't think you've seen this one. Maybe you should try it. But like, I'm not that big of a fan of it.
How long is the game?
It's like 80 hours.
I don't have 80 hours like in my life.
See, it's funny, y'all. We're playing Final Fantasy 16 right now. Like that's our couple like missionary position activity, and it's sort of bad. I don't like the game that much personally. And Iuliia agrees with most of my criticisms. But you're still enjoying it, right?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's like playing Game of Thrones, but in the game.
Which was kind of their goal, I guess, yeah. And then, it's funny, because I'm playing Metaphor mostly by myself. And I think it's so directly comparable to 16 in so many ways. And it's so much better, in my opinion. And you was like, this is boring because it's anime.
I started getting into it more.
Oh yeah, we just got to sort of a pivotal point in the story, and she was like a little more invested. But I think as soon as the turn-based combat starts, it's like, you know.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of turn-based. Even though I love Civilization 6.
Iuliia says the music and the metaphor music is like Civilization 6 music.
Yeah.
Our next pick is Monster Hunter as a franchise. I'm gonna let you go first. What do you think?
I mean, it's hard for me to say because I've only seen you play Monster Hunter, and I don't even remember which one it was.
It was mostly Rise, the one we played together.
And I really like it. I like the aesthetic of the Monster Hunter. I like the villages, how they look like, very cozy vibes, and also the cats and the dogs, which is I think every game should have a dog at least. If it's a cat, it's alright, but like if it's like both, that's like amazing.
See, this is the one game that made Iuliia be okay with cats.
Yeah, because like at least like they're useful. Like they cook and stuff and serve the humans.
Iuliia is fully a dog person.
Like in real life, humans serve the cats, but in Monster Hunter, cats serve the humans. Which is, I think, is more like I like it more. Yeah.
So Monster Hunter, I'm so tired of how much you all talk about Monster Hunter. Like, all my friends just are obsessed with Monster Hunter, and it's so annoying. It's all y'all talk about. Okay, my sincere take is that there are a lot of positive qualities to this franchise. It's strange because the game appeals to people in such vastly different ways. It's looks in arcade action, sees Monster Hunter decision leaves. I want to say there's two big, well, maybe let's say three big pillars, right? Or three big ways you can interpret Monster Hunter. You can interpret it as this holistic experience, right? You're going out as a hunter, you're leveling up, you're just a cool guy, you want to see cool locations, you want to see cool monsters, and then you fight and it's intense. Well, it's again, it's the whole package. And then you could go one extreme and say, okay, I'm all about the looting and what's the word? Looting and shooting.
I don't know.
I think I want to say looter shooter, but it's not. It's a looter.
Looter scooter.
Hacker and looter. I don't fucking know. Like, you're all about multiplayer, playing with your friends, looting, getting better gear, blah. That's one thing. Or you're all about the fun combat and what's unique about the combat, the positioning aspect, the lack of iframes, the complex AI the monsters sort of abide by. And that last part, I feel like has gotten, well, from what I can gather, right? I'm a Monster Hunter casual. There's like a couple Monster Hunters that I dug in pretty, well, I want to say I played them a lot, right? I wouldn't say I deep dove them, but I played a lot of Monster Hunter 4U, played a lot of Monster Hunter World, got basically to the credits in those games, right? I'm in that holistic end of the spectrum, right? Where I just play it as a holistic kind of experience. And for that, I enjoyed it. Bless you.
Thank you.
But from what I can gather, the sort of AI manipulation, tight controlled, super positioning based gameplay, that's gotten more and more de-emphasized with the more recent games, especially World and Rise, and now Wilds is looking like is going another step in that direction. Where I'm at is that all the looting shit just does not appeal to me at all. I feel like you could restructure the series and sort of laser in on the boss fight appeal, boss rush appeal. But I feel like that's not really where the money is. That's not really how the majority of the audience sees the series. You know, I think Wilds, there's still sort of hope that maybe it will really lock in on this experiential kind of holistic angle. Because I feel like that's also something that was always kind of lacking with Monster Hunter. I feel like I feel like most of these games, they never pass the threshold where, oh, I feel like I'm on a hunt, I'm a hunter. It feels like I'm playing a goofy arcade game, and then there's all this other shit kind of around it. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's something Wilds will do. I don't know. I think Monster Hunter, there's a lot of things I don't like about it that push me away from it, but I wouldn't say it's overrated. I think it has so many unique qualities, and it sort of does the looter game thing in what might be the most respectable way imaginable, right? It doesn't seem quite as shallow and stupid as most of the other looter games that are kind of out there. So yeah, I think that's my take. Yeah.
I think there's too much grinding in the game, and also I don't like the gameplay, and I only like the vibes. Also, the Wilds one, the new game that's coming out, seems really nice. Like, I would play it.
You would play it?
Except, like,
it actually has crossplay. You can play it on PC and I can play on PlayStation.
Like, I wish I didn't have to play it. Like, I wish I didn't have to, like, actually fight the monsters.
You just want to make outfits.
Yeah. I just want to, like, explore the village and also, like, get my own house and farm. That would be awesome.
Well, you can decorate your house and there's a farm. It's like, it's been in most of the games.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's a little underdeveloped. There's not much customization or whatever, but...
What? That's not true.
She just wants to skin the poor animals. There's nothing about it actually simulating being a hunter. You just have to long walk to a boss, maybe with some fodder on the way. Yeah, exactly. I think maybe if we played Generations together, I think, on the Switch multiplayer. And
I don't remember.
That was one of the older ones where the controls are very...
Oh, yeah.
Of a certain vintage, you know? And very... particular. I feel like if you played one of the modern ones and you found a weapon that you are comfortable with, like the bow or something, I feel like maybe you could play it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We should try that. Next we got Tears of the Kingdom. Iuliia, you said you didn't finish this game.
Yeah.
And you really like Breath of the Wild, right?
I really like Breath of the Wild, but I mean, Tears of the Kingdom is kind of the same, right? Like, it's got the same mechanics and stuff, but I don't know. Like, after a while, I got bored.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that are really Tears of the Kingdom is one of Hot Pocket always says it. It's one of the weirdest games he's ever played, and I kind of agree. Like, it's so crazy that they made this for 6 years and they didn't do any of the things that people wanted them to do. They just did this weird, esoteric fucking game design exercise of using most of the same content and then tweaking a lot of the mechanics and then putting all this weird new shit in it. It almost feels like it feels like people were asking, okay, when's the DLC for Tears of the Kingdom? And then I think I saw a couple of people sort of derogatorily saying, well, Tears of the Kingdom is the DLC, so
It kind of feels like it, to be honest.
Because it feels like, okay, you got the same game, but like with a weird new character.
Yeah.
That's like, that changes it a lot. And like, there's a lot of things that I really love about it that no other game kind of has done. That really impressed me. But at the same time, it's the aura Breath of the Wild. Yeah, that's perfect. At the same time, I felt like they really upped the busy work. The game feels so much fuller and not in a good way. It feels like there's some dumb distraction every 2 seconds. It really made it click for me how brilliant Breath of the Wild was. That the pacing of the game was just so considered, and it had this very natural sense of escalation and anticipation. It really was a game of exploration, right? And I think with Tears of the Kingdom, they were in this weird catch-22 where they realized, okay, we can't repeat the same shit on the same map. So we're gonna give you all these insane vehicles to just blast through the map with. But then that stops being satisfying really quickly, I think. So I think the game is at its best when it actually gives you super contained challenges. And then that's mostly new stuff, right? That's mostly new sort of test level E kind of shit. And even then there's like, I thought the Gerudo dungeon was super awesome, for example. I still think the Ascend ability and the way they design levels around it is mind-blowing. To me, I've never played a game where you go into an interior structure and then the outside world still exists around it. Like, they actually paid attention. The scale is correct. You know, this scale-wise, everything is completely correct. If you jump out through the ceiling, you come out at the correct place. That sounds so stupid and simple, but that's so insane to me. I guess I'm resistant to the idea that, Tears of the Kingdom is just Breath of the Wild but better, because I think a lot of people do say that, and in that sense, maybe it is overrated. I think not enough people talk about how fucking tedious and boring a lot of stuff in that game is.
I wanted to say that it's very tedious because it literally the pacing is fucked up. Because whenever I play, it just takes so much time to build all these vehicles and structures and just combine all these weapons.
Yeah.
It's after a while it takes me out of experience.
Yeah, it's whenever I see some distraction in the distance, I just don't know if it's actually fun to engage with, you know. And there's too much of a chance that it will just waste my time, you know. And I feel like the game is just too, they drank the Kool-Aid too much of oh, maybe we do need a reward structure, maybe we do need some shit to motivate you, when Breath of the Wild was so brilliant for being this very minimalist game. Breath of the Wild is way more overrated than Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom gets more pushing, I feel nicer, even if it's still considered very good. Huh. I guess I'm sort of judging this very subjectively. Because for my sensibilities, Breath of the Wild is the better game, right? This is a game I respect more. And that's why I don't see anything wrong with the sentiment, you know? with the average sentiment. But I see what you mean.
I don't agree. Breath of the Wild is the best game that has ever been published. How do you say it? Yeah.
Has ever been bestowed upon the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think I think she's saying Tears of the Kingdom gets more pushback in the mainstream. That's I feel that's hard to verify. All the critics loved it. It sold like 20 million copies in the first weekend.
You know what? Like number 2 in the series always gets like the most pushback. For example, Devil May Cry 2, Bayonetta 2, one of the best games ever, and people say they're dog shit. I don't agree.
How much does the Earth cost?
What the fuck are you talking about? That's the thing. I think evaluating which one, or if Tears of the Kingdom actually gets that much pushback is like kind of hard. It's a little too anecdotal for me. And yeah, the cave, this is the thing. The first time you go into a cave, it's like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is amazing. This is like crazy. Like, again, with the ascendability, you're like, this is insane. Like,
yeah, when you ascend for the first time, it feels awesome.
Like, the idea that they carved a cave into the geometry. Like, I haven't seen a game do that. Like, that's such a simple thing. But I haven't really seen a game do that convincingly. This is the first one that did it convincingly. The problem is that the caves are fucking boring, so...
Yeah, it's always the same enemies as well.
Yeah. I complain about it so much. I still gave Tears of the Kingdom a 5 on Backlogged. Because the highs were... God, dude. Fucking weak. So, and again, I respect it too much that I'm comfortable saying it's overrated. So, yeah. Our next game is Baldur's Gate 3, and they actually wrote a full little comment. I'm gonna go full spice and say Baldur's Gate 3. The actual significance of your choices is minor. The story doesn't actually make any sense. It's too long. Larian still doesn't understand how to make combat that isn't a massive grind with super weird enemy scaling, and the ending sucks.
This is basically Dungeons and Dragons, right?
It's based on Dungeons and Dragons directly,
Okay.
yeah. So you were kind of interested in the game, right? Because like you like the vibe of it a little bit.
Yeah, I like the vibe. Also, there's like this character Astarion, and he looks kind of hot. So I've actually seen a little bit of the gameplay because I was curious about it, and yeah, I was surprised that you could actually have like a lot of storylines, you know. But it seems like it's not that good, so I don't know. Also,
So this is one thing. Like,
did you know there's like BDSM in it, and there's actual like sex scenes and stuff?
I don't know how detailed it is.
It's not that detailed. Like I think you can see them naked, but they don't go like full on like inserting the penetration and stuff.
Can I just say, I love that this one guy said, had said some complaints about the game, and you're like, I guess it's not that good. You're just instantly convinced by this one guy, even though everybody says like the game is amazing. Best
He
game ever.
definitely knows more than me, because I haven't actually played it.
Well, but it's just his opinion.
Yeah.
And like all these other guys who say it's amazing, they also have played
But
it.
also, I hate RPGs. Like, I hate turn-based combat.
That's the thing, you wouldn't like it because
I hate having parties, like, have a party, like, yeah. But I don't agree with this. I think if you have an RPG, at least include some romance, so it has at least some kind of fun.
So,
yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, you're good. So what I want to say about Baldur's Gate 3 is I'm skeptical about it. I don't think what it's doing is that impressive. I had the same problem with Disco, well, I don't know if it's a problem, but the same impression of Disco Elysium, where, and this is, I got some flack for this in the past. Let me explain. The idea of a branching story in a game is something that inherently will just never scale, right? It always scales linearly. You only get as much out as you put in. And every single branch is something that you have to dedicatedly write and craft. And your game is only so big, right? So I'm not that impressed with it when a game has a million branches, because I know, well, they just had to spend a lot of time and work on that, right? They just had a big budget, they had a lot of writers, blah, blah, blah. They had a lot of time. I'm more interested in games that find sort of fundamental from the ground up solutions to those kinds of problems. And again, to me, the fact that it is a crafted story, like whenever I do a branch, I know it's something that somebody scripted. That's just not something that really, again, in the moment, it doesn't really impress me that much. As much as, like, this is my classic example. I kill an elite in Halo, and then the grunts run away, right? That's systemic. That's you know, mechanical. That's game design. Whereas, like, if you just make a choose your own adventure book and just make a really big one of that, it's like, it's cool, but I don't know.
So you like emergent gameplay?
Emergent gameplay,
Yeah.
yes. Emergent complexity.
You don't like linear storylines?
Well, that's the thing. It's not. They're saying same with like something like Detroit Become Human, right?
Yeah.
Where they say, "Ooh, it's non-linear." Well, it's not really non-linear. It's just a lot of different linear scripts. You know?
I like Detroit Become Human. It's a good game.
If you say that on the internet, that's a dangerous thing to say.
Really? Why?
Because I mean, a lot of people make fun of that studio's games kind of for their sort of social commentary. I have no horse in the race. I just saw some funny stuff that I thought was like kind of interesting. But then also, the director of the studio is like an insane asshole because he's like.
Wait, is it David Lynch?
David Cage.
David Cage.
Yeah, David Cage. Emotion. I make the games super emotional. He's French.
Why are you making fun of French people?
I love France. I love the French. I think I'm allowed. I have a French pass.
Le baguette.
Le baguette. He was like in court and he started crying because he's like sexist and racist and stuff.
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna use Disco Elysium again as an example. Because in that game, it's another example of a game where you just see the holes so quickly. There's only so much you can do with scripting. And it's a great story, but it doesn't really put the player's agency first, and I find that very weak. I would rather have a game that's at least honest about the level of agency that you have. And I'm very skeptical. Like, again, with the approach that Baldur's Gate 3 takes, I'm not convinced that it would get there to where I would really like it.
Does the fact that you can have sex interest you at all?
No. I can just have sex in real life. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Argue. There's going to be a part 2 for Overrated games, because we had a lot of material. I can't believe that I finished the edit on this, like, 5 months ago. I just came back to this project. I opened it sort of scared, like, oh my god, how far was this along? It was done. I just did not have an ending. And then I just sat on it for 5 months. Dude, I'm so stupid. I don't know how I'm going to handle the next episode yet. I think I'm going to do another tweet where I ask for questions, and then we're going to stream it live. Let me know if you like the live format. Yeah, peace out.